Our next stop on our 11-night Disney cruise takes us to Sweden. Here's everything we saw, ate, and did on day 4 of our European cruise on the Disney Dream. On day 4 of our 11-night cruise through Northern Europe, we stopped in Nynäshamn, Sweden. This is about 40 minutes from Stockholm, which is where we were headed for the day. We started our day off with coffee from Cove Cafe and freshly made omelets from Tavernas. We didn't really book any excursions on this cruise as we wanted to explore a lot on our own, but since we weren't really familiar with how public transportation would work in Sweden, we did book transportation through Disney Cruise Line. This is definitely pricier than if we had just taken the public transportation, but since I was a little nervous about getting back to the ship on time, I was willing to pay a little more for peace of mind. So we met in the Walt Disney Theater and then headed out to the motor coach that would take us into Stockholm. It was comfortable and clean, and after about 40 minutes, we arrived in Stockholm. This is such a gorgeous city. The architecture is just beautiful. We were dropped off near the Old Town, which makes for an easy place to start exploring. The city itself is super walkable, and we headed towards Gamla stan, which is the town square of Old Town. As you start walking through Old Town, you'll see there are a lot of souvenir type shops, so we decided to stop and see if we could find a magnet for our door, as we were collecting one for each city that we stopped in. There's also a ton of other type of souvenir items if you're looking for things like that. Mugs, shot glasses, typical things you'd find at souvenir shops. There are plenty of other shops and restaurants in this area, and after following the cobblestone streets for a bit, we were brought directly to Gamla stan. Though there are mostly businesses here and it is a bit touristy, Gamla stan is super charming, with brightly colored buildings, cafes, and cobblestone-lined streets. It's a huge tourist spot, and these buildings are basically all shops and restaurants now, but the history behind the area is pretty interesting. We headed back into the shopping area to check out more of what the shops had to offer. My daughter is a knitter, so we decided to stop at Makery 14 to grab some yarn for her next project. The shop was a little small, but it had a great selection of yarns, and the owner was very friendly and helpful. After exploring more of Old Town, we headed to Kungsträdgården Garden, or King's Garden, which is a free park in the middle of the city that is home to cafes, art galleries, and restaurants. This is a really nice area to enjoy a little bit of green space, relax, or just hang out. Many of the public restrooms in Stockholm require payment, so if you are from the United States, this might seem a little unusual to you. It's just something that's good to keep in mind so that you're not surprised. However, on our way into the city, our guide who was on the bus with us shared that the mall NK had free restrooms inside. So we headed there before moving on to our next destination. This mall is super fancy and there are tons of shops and places to grab food if you need it. To get to the restrooms, you have to go up multiple escalators. It's all the way at the top. But they are free and clean, so something to keep in mind if you're a tourist in Stockholm. This area has a ton of high-end shops, so if you're looking for something a little fancier, you can find that over here. Stockholm is an archipelago that is home to different islands, so depending on what you want to see and where you want to go, you may need to travel to a different island to see that thing. You can do this via ferry, which is super easy. We wanted to go to your garden, so we got on the ferry and headed over there. When you arrive in your garden, you'll come across their theme park, Gröna Lund. We didn't visit this, but we know some people who did and they had a fantastic time, so if you like theme parks, definitely consider checking this one out. There are also some places right outside of the theme park that have food that you can grab along the way. And this area is home to a lot of museums, including the ABBA Museum, which is super popular. We were on the hunt for lunch, so we moved away from the area and found this lovely cafe, Flickorna Helene. They have indoor and outdoor seating, and it was pretty nice out, so we decided to eat outside. There's a beautiful view from the patio of the Djurgården Canal. Open-faced sandwiches are very popular in this part of the world, so we decided to try an open-faced sandwich. This might have just been the most delicious sandwich I have ever had. Everything on this sandwich was so high quality and super fresh, and even though it was an open-faced sandwich, it was so filling. We also tried the Swedish meatballs and potatoes, which was also very delicious and super flavorful. This was such a charming cafe. The location was beautiful. After lunch, we walked along the water and just enjoyed seeing views of the canal. This area is so beautiful and peaceful. There were so many other people just walking, riding bikes, and you can get some pretty gorgeous views of Stockholm from here as well. Then we headed to our next destination, the Vasa Museum. This museum is home to the world's only almost fully preserved 17th century ship. This ship capsized and sank in 1628, and it's a real mystery how that even happened, but it's pretty incredible to see it close up. I don't want to show too much of this, and so I want to keep it pretty spoiler-free, but it's awesome to see. You can see it on many different levels. This is a very cool museum to see. They also have a gift shop at the end, and there's a restaurant inside as well. In this area, you'll also find the Beer Museum, the Viking Museum, the Maritime Museum, and many others. So if you're into museums, definitely this island is one to consider for your trip. If we would have had more time, we probably would have stopped at more of them. We got back on the ferry and headed toward Old Town. As you can see from the water, you can see some of the theme park. So again, if theme parks are your thing, you can definitely visit one while you're here in Stockholm. On our way back to Old Town, we stopped by the Royal Palace. You do have to pay to go inside, and we didn't really have time, so we kind of just looked at it from the outside, took a few pictures, and moved on. This was pretty cool to see, even if it was just for a short amount of time. And we walked around the area a little bit more to see some of the things that we maybe had missed earlier. Before heading back to the bus, we decided to stop for a fika, or coffee break, and stopped at Cafe Schweizer. We got some very delicious coffee and Swedish cinnamon buns, which were absolutely amazing. I need to find a good recipe to make these at my house. Unfortunately, taking Disney's transportation meant that we didn't get as much time in Stockholm as we would have liked, so we had to head back to the bus and then get back to the ship. When we returned, Jordan Caswell was playing in the atrium. We are huge Jordan Caswell fans. He is so incredibly talented and he's a great performer. If you like artists like Lindsey Sterling, you'll probably love him. He does play some of Lindsay's music. He also plays Taylor Swift if you're into her. And he has his own original music as well. So if he's playing on your cruise ship, you're in for a treat. Definitely make sure you stop by and see him. He is fantastic. Donald's a big fan of Jordan Caswell as well, if you can see. Then we got to meet some of the characters in their European costumes, which were just absolutely adorable. Dinner this night was at Royal Palace for us. We got the farmhouse salad to start. I'm always trying to get more vegetables on these cruises because honestly, it's kind of hard to get enough vegetables, I think, when you're cruising. This was really okay. There was nothing that special about it, but it was a salad, and that's what I was looking for. Also got the French onion soup, which if you like French onion soup, their French onion soup here is pretty great. I got the roasted filet steak, which was delicious, perfectly seasoned, and very tender. I've gotten this one before, and this is one that's always very good. And my daughter got the roasted rack of lamb, which was very delicious as well. I always ask for a side of broccoli to get a bit more vegetables when I'm on the cruise, so this is just a reminder that you can always request things that are not on the menu. If they can accommodate you, they absolutely will. For dessert, we got the Grand Marnier souffle. Always get this. It is absolutely amazing. This is one that I could probably eat every night and not get tired of. And the Tahitian vanilla creme brulee was also very good. Super creamy and flavorful. And that ends day 4 on our Disney cruise through Northern Europe. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you have enjoyed this video, and we will see you in the next one.